In the words of John Harold, babies are such a nice way to start people. Babies, infants, toddlers, they're absolutely fascinating young human beings. Infants in particular, although they seem somewhat helpless upon being born, completely dependent upon their mother, caregivers, parents, are surprisingly influential individuals. And they have to be, if you come to think about it, because they have very limited mobility, their senses are still developing, they have to, or they have evolved to employ very subtle but effective chemical manipulatory mechanisms in order to attract adults so that they're getting the attention, the stimulation, and the care that they need to survive. And so you might have caught the fact that I said manipulative. And I mentioned in an earlier episode that we're going to talk about the terms manipulative, persuasion, coercion in different terms, and that it's necessary when talking about influence. And this part in particular, it's important to note that when I say manipulation, it's not necessarily malicious in any way. Obviously, infants are not malicious. They're not really malicious or benevolent. They're just beings that are doing what they can on a genetic level to survive. But what they're doing is manipulative. It's shifting the environment in ways that are beneficial for them. And it's a necessary manipulation, not necessarily a bad thing. And so some of the things that infants do is they have big dilated pupils. And dilated pupils are something that adults find attractive. They admire it, they're drawn to it. That's why you'll see a lot of cartoon characters with these big brown pupil eyes. You'll see dolls. Sometimes as well in marketing, advertisements will be edited or photoshopped so that pupils appear larger than they actually are. And this is because we're attracted to that. So for an infant to evolve that characteristic of having large pupils, it's to their advantage. We're going to find them more appealing. They also have incredibly soft skin. There's even an expression, softer than a baby's bum. And that's because pleasant tactile responses are extremely crucial. Touch is very important for survival, but it's also something that we depend on heavily as a species. There was a study done in the 1950s by Harry Harlow with some monkeys, where he had a wire monkey that provided food, a fake wired monkey, and then a fuzzy one that didn't provide food. And the real monkeys that were part of the experiment, they would go to the wire monkey for food, but then immediately after they would go right back to the fuzzy one because of the soft tactile and pleasurable tactile experience that the soft one provided. It was nurturing, comforting. It evokes a sense of security and safety. This is very surprising that the young monkey would choose soft tactile experience over food. Babies also have very contagious laughs. Their laughs are known to be uplifting, regardless of the mood that you're in. If you hear a baby's laugh, it's something that many people cannot resist smiling about. So these are only just a few examples as to how a baby would evoke a response from an adult in order to get the adult to care for them. And in many cases as well, there's a chemical bond that goes on between a mother and an infant. And this chemical bond is crucial to the dynamic that goes on between the infant and the mother in terms of caretaking and nurturing and the overall survival of the infant. Is going through profound, rapid growth and development. Through the use of mechanisms feedback as well as calibration, they interact with the environment around them. The result of that interaction contributing to the belief system that they end up forming about the world and about themselves. This is why babies are so curious. They're learning about the world around them, and they're also learning about themselves and the people around them. But their senses are also developing. This is why a baby will suddenly start laughing when it comes to peekaboo. It's because they're probably developing their facial recognition, part of their brain. So what was once something that they didn't really process because the brain hadn't developed that yet, is now a brand new phenomenon, and it's exciting. It's adventurous. It's a baby's adventure to play peekaboo. They might also be developing their color vision at a young age. So they're going to start noticing different objects around the room. Again, things that only weeks or days before they had never paid attention to are now going to be brand new things. It's almost like as weeks go by or as days go by and as these parts of the brain are refining and developing, every day is a whole new world for a young developing baby. You'll notice as well that they'll test out their voice through screaming and goo-gooing and gagaing. They'll test out sounds by banging pots and pans around in different ways because it'll resonate differently, resonate in ways that they have never experienced before. And some of these milestones are obvious to recognize, and some of them not so much. Again, when a baby starts reacting to peekaboo, it's pretty clear that their vision has shifted in some shape or form. They're experiencing something new. But some very important cognitive milestones take place that are more subtle and equally important. That being the one of self-recognition. The first time that a baby recognizes themselves in a mirror is often when this milestone is noticed, having taken place. But this one, more so than anything else, it's them recognizing that they're a unique individual in the world, that they're their own entity, so they have a sense of self. That's a pretty special thing. And human babies are not the only animals to do that, actually. There's also many primates are known to have that moment of self-individual recognition. Brain is going through profound, rapid development and growth. Through the use of the mechanisms of feedback and calibration, they interact with the environment around them, and they learn from this. Ultimately, that interaction and the results of that interaction contributing to their perception and the foundation of beliefs that they then form, which contributes to their belief system and their perception later in life.